beautiful humans. Oh, there we go. Light it up. We are about to go live, quite literally, on Clubhouse to speak with Stella. And so I'm going to have my phone here. Hopefully, you can see and hear the conversation. So I'm about to jump on Clubhouse. So that's just at veronicapaige on Clubhouse. And we're talking to Stella and Soul Connection Cafe, which is just full of so many exciting, beautiful conversations. And we're going to talk about how to boost your energy naturally. So, what does that mean? We're going to talk about what fatigue is. We're going to talk about Ayurvedic techniques. We'll talk about caffeine. And so, jump on if you want to ask questions. Clubhouse at Veronica Page. Let's jump on and see what's going on. So, you're going to see me like in and out of conversation mode because some people are going to speak too, and I'll stay on after to speak to anything that we might not get into because we never know where these conversations are going to go. Okay, let's do it. Ooh, okay. Join. Clubhouse is fun. I'm super new to it though. Okay, join the room.
Just raise your hand and you're more than welcome to come up here. And hi goddess, so great to see you here again. Veronica, I'm so excited for this room and for this conversation. Oh my god, how are you today?
I'm so good, Stella. It's always just such a pleasure to be on here with you, to be in this community. We always have so much fun. So I'm feeling good. Been up since 4:30, and I'm stoked about this.
Oh my god, is this part of your routine to be up so early?
Yes, on good days I'm up at 4:30. On my later days I'm up around 6. Yeah.
Early. I mean, I have to wake up at 6 because that's the routine we have to follow with my little one. But yes, it doesn't come thinking about boosting. I think it's so important, and as you mentioned, waking up early. How important is for our energy and when to wake up and all these hours. I'd love to hear from your experience.
Yeah, so you cut out just a little bit, so I'm gonna just reiterate your question from what I understand. You asked what are the importance of waking up early and sleeping at certain times when it comes to our energy. That's what I
Yep.
understood. Okay,
Yes.
amazing. So the biggest importance of waking up early is cycling with nature. I'm sure some of your listeners have heard of circadian rhythm, and if not, then we can kind of break it down. I don't know if you've had any specific conversations about it, but basically, our circadian rhythms are like physical, mental, and behavioral changes that follow that 24-hour cycle. And these processes respond to light and dark that affect everything. I'm talking microbes, which are pretty much like 80 to 90% of what make up the human body. Animals, plants, everything responds to this 24-hour cycle. And that creates this like biological clock, right? That all organisms, again, relate to. And so that jumps us onto this circadian rhythm, this cycle of when the sun rises and when it falls, and how our energies move in those cycles. So there's literally like specific proteins that interact with our cells throughout the body at certain times of the day, most optimally and less optimally at certain times. So, and again, like our tissues, our organs, our molecules are all on these clocks. So when we hop on that natural cycle of nature, we are, think of it like you're sitting in a floaty down a river versus like needing to swim up it. So once we hop onto it, it starts to we start to flow. We start to have more energy because we're not releasing energy trying to just stay awake or trying to go through tasks at an unnatural, quote unquote, unnatural time. So that's like the biggest note about it. And it's also important to remember that women, we have different shifts because of our menstrual cycle, our bleed. So our energies will differ throughout the month based on the moon as well, because we have another layer, we can say, of energy, thanks to our wonderful ability to create life. And that is extremely powerful and can be a whole nother topic, but no matter what, that circadian rhythm still applies. It's just how we can slightly differentiate depending on when our cycle is as well.
Wow, that's really, really cool. And I agree with you. Like, even when you travel to a shifting and you have and adapt, and it's not always easy, but when we are aware that we need, say, one day, 1 week, maybe just a couple of days to accommodate to the new time zone, then we are just being kinder to ourselves. And regarding the sleep time, I just find it so important to honor that, like you explained, to flow with the river, not to swim against the river. Because, like, I remember when I was working in night shifts, I put on so much weight. It was so frustrating, and I was getting frustrated that I was putting on weight while still having to do that night shift. So I was like in a in a circle that I couldn't change or stop, and it was like, oh, what am I doing here? But yeah, I feel like when we swim against this flow, it's just difficult to focus. It's difficult to feel healthy and energized as well. So what I was doing, I was replacing this lack of sleep with food and a lot of coffee. Now, I don't drink as much coffee now, just one or maximum two per day. I'd have one in the morning. But the fact that I replaced that sleep, and I was trying to make myself feel like in charge, in power, and I was putting in so much food, so much more food than my body needed. And coffee, it really didn't help me at all. So yeah, I would love for you to share with us. So say, okay, maybe on some of the days we can't have that 8 hour sleep. Maybe we had 6 hours sleep. What do we do? Is coffee helping? Can we replace it with something else?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you for bringing this up. And I feel for you. Let me just say, I feel for you, and I really feel for all of the humans in the world that have the night shift, have a night shift. The drivers and transportation workers. I have so much love and heart and respect for them, and it is simply not sustainable for a human. It's just not. It's not something that we can do for long term, because at the end of the day, caffeine caffeine, it fools our body into thinking that we're not tired. So it's blocking the messages from our body that tells us that we need to rest. So it's kind of like taking money from like a credit card, right? So coffee pulls on your reserve energy from your kidneys, your adrenals, and then it's taxing our body and putting us deeper into this biological debt, which will then more exhaust us, right? And then the liver is just trying to sponge up all the adrenals that's being pushed out because of the caffeine, because it's trying to protect us, right? And then the liver gets exhausted and taxed. And then what happens when the liver is exhausted and taxed? I mean, our blood is toxic. We can't digest things. And then the skin gets inflamed. It's just a whole bunch of things. So caffeine long term is just not the answer. It'll lead to chronic dehydration. It'll lead to the peristalsis of the digestive system, which is basically the gastrocolic reflux that allows us to release our waste. It can't move without caffeine because it gets addicted to it. And then without the caffeine, it's basically like loose and it's not toned. And then the natural, just warm water in the morning just doesn't cut it. So it becomes this vicious cycle once we get addicted. Because caffeine is a drug, it's a medicine. All food is medicine, and I will never, and Ayurveda, the lineage of medicine that I work with, never demonizes any foods. We don't. Caffeine, coffee, green tea, cacao, all of this is medicine. Period. It's medicine. And do we want to take medicine every day? Absolutely not. So we want to just use it with intention. So when you are going on those like long drives and your family's in the back seat, you need to get there by a certain time. Have the coffee, yes. And then we want to give our body the rest. We want to give our body the rest so that it can come back to its natural ability to release adrenaline when we actually need it. So it's not this like boy who cried wolf situation that when you're actually in a stressful situation, like needing to run from something, or there's intense confrontation, something painful, something that requires the fight or flight responses, that we're not numbed out because our body doesn't have any of those chemicals to release anymore. And I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to live a numbed out life. I'm trying to feel all the feels. Yeah.
You said it so that fools our brain. That just we are trying to convince ourselves that we are not tired with coffee when we're actually tired, and maybe our body is telling us, hey, go and have a nap, go and have some sleep, go and have some relaxing time, and then we take coffee to just tell ourselves otherwise. And like you said, on some occasions it's useful, it's good, because this is how we can keep the focus for just a little longer. But I agree with you, we just have to give it some rest. So would you say that cacao is not a good replacement for coffee? It's like at the same level with coffee?
So there's a different level of caffeine content. So like brewed coffee will have the most caffeine, and then espresso, and then black tea, and then green tea, and then dark chocolate. So that's like the level. And then there's like Coca-Cola or coffee liqueurs like that come after, chocolate ice cream that's like lower. So there are levels to the amount of caffeine for sure. And if one is starting to lower the amounts of caffeine, I think that that's a great idea, because we don't want to just quit coffee cold turkey, because like any drug, I mean, you are going to get withdrawals, you're going to get the shakes, you're going to get headaches. Oh my gosh, it's painful. So starting with maybe adding hot water to half of the coffee, or even having decaf, because decaf coffee still has caffeine. Decaf coffee actually has less than chocolate. Cacao has more caffeine than decaffeinated coffee. But what you can do is just be mindful of, okay, I'm going to add some warm water, and then I'm going to, for like a week, then maybe I'll go to black tea, then maybe I'll go to green tea, and then maybe I'll have some chocolate. And also, if you're going to have the coffee, again, like having it intentionally, have it before 10 a.m. so that your body has time to cycle through and then get to a real REM sleep. If you're having the coffee after 10, it is 95% likely that you're not going to get a full REM sleep. And then also having it like cacao and coffee organic when possible, because the pesticides that are non-organic can be even more harmful to the gut, which is just going to create an even further breeding ground for disease. And then having it after, again, if it's the coffee or the cacao, having it after you've had your warm water first. Maybe that, depending on your type and your needs, you might have warm water with lemon and salt. You might have warm water plain. You might have ginger water. And then have your grounding breakfast. So that will be like fruit, protein, whole grains. So all of those together, like a really nice whole full grounding breakfast. If you're someone who like a kapha, I don't know if a lot of your listeners know about Ayurveda, but if you don't, you can look at what the doshas are. You can Google it or go to my website. But someone who's more earthy, who tends to gain weight really fast, they might do some movement and then have the coffee. It's like, whoa, which is like then why we go back to waking up early, because then once you've had some warm water, had the grounded breakfast, maybe some movement, then have the coffee, you won't need as much. You won't need as much because your body is now starting to pump its own natural energy.
You know what? You are such a wealth of and Julia and Mangesh here in the audience. If you resonate with Veronica, her Instagram profile, you'll see how much knowledge she has, and she shares all of it. She's just amazing. Veronica described this morning routine so beautifully, and you explain like why warm water is so important. And yeah, I agree with you that like once you satisfy your body with what it needs, like you put the water through the drains through the intestines and everything, the body receives the message that it won't need as much more like additional help like caffeine to then process everything. And I love how you put it all together. You know, and I agree, coffee can be very, very addictive to the point that, you know, it doesn't even matter if you had 2 or 3, you can just have another one and then another one, and it just goes on. So would you say that 2 liters of water is enough per day, or does it actually depend on the body weight? Because I know that sometimes people would calculate like how much water they should drink by the amount of kilograms that they have. What would you say about that?
Yeah, such a good question with when it comes to water. I feel like a lot of people like go with the 8 glasses of 8 ounces, or like 8 times a day or something like that. I think I hear that a lot. And really, it comes back to really understanding your own body type and what feels good. If you're feeling this water sloshing around in your belly, we don't want that. That actually just means that they're creating pressure in your stomach that's going to be taxing for the other organs, and your body's obviously not absorbing the water properly. So small sips throughout the day. I actually, when it comes to just warm water, so it's very intuitive. I'll have maybe like 4, sometimes 2 glasses of just pure water a day, and then have my liquids in other ways. So this could be like with broths, sipping on broth in which has then more minerals, more enzymes that are good for digestion and hydration. I'll sip on that. Sometimes I'll have herbal teas. Again, with herbal teas, they can also be dehydrating, kind of like coffee. So knowing which ones are right for you is important. Or sometimes I'll have just like squeeze of lemon water, and so it's taking in your hydration in specific ways. Now that it's summer for those of us in the northern hemisphere, then you might be having more things like melons, watermelons, which have a lot of amazing hydration and enzymes that we want. Cucumbers, things like that. You can hydrate through your food too. So it's important to take note. Also, if you're like getting dry around the lips, right, and you're drinking a lot of water, then it means that your body is not absorbing it. So we need to figure out why, and that, you know, is a process in itself. It's not too crazy, but it's a process. And then just taking note, how much water am I drinking now? And then look at my body. Like, am I feeling dry? Does my tongue have cracks in them? Are there cracks around my lips? And then we take the next steps from there.
Wow, and yes, with this, we can see how much our body is talking to us. Like all these signs, we are receiving them. If only we can listen to like what our body is showing us. And yes, I agree with you. Like sometimes if I probably you've heard about all these challenges that people would do online, like 30 days of drinking so much water, for example. And then if you try to drink three glasses of water in one go, it would feel a little bit crazy, and you'd feel that water in your stomach, and then it just doesn't feel like it works, and it's not that beautiful dance between us and food or liquid, whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. And yes, thank you so much for explaining that, Veronica. I love naps, especially during this. And I'm trying not to give too much of it to my daughter because she's only 4. I mean, not too much of it before nighttime. So, because you know how it is, then she would want to go to the toilet. She's only 4, so often. But yeah, they're addition to like our water intake. So thank you so much for mentioning that. It came to my mind. Do you see any connection between feeling bloated and feeling tired? Is there any connection between these two at all?
Feeling bloated and feeling tired. Absolutely. Anytime we feel some sort of strain on the body. So, bloating specifically, if we're feeling bloated or gassy in some sense, that means that there is something in Ayurveda we call ama, which is undigested food. Undigested food in the body that is starting to perforate or ferment, and the bacteria in our body is munching on them, creating gas and bloating. Because what do bacteria do? They are living organisms. They poop and pee. So their poop and pee is toxic and causing us to feel gassy and bloaty. Wonderful. So that means that we are not absorbing the nutrients, rather the bacteria is taking up all of the goods that we want. So yes, that will be or can be often related to fatigue, because you're not absorbing the nutrients that you want from the food, and instead the bacteria is taking it for some reason that it's caused, there's stagnation in the body, creating that bloating gas feeling. Plus, it just doesn't feel good to be gassy and bloaty. I don't know about you, but I'm trying to like sit late, being down dog all day until I can release any of this bloat. And that can just dampen our confidence and our mindset as well. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's very, very true. It's not a comfortable feeling. And for some reason, like when we step into that energetic state, it's like we forget about the headaches and we forget about the pains. And interestingly, I've noticed for myself, like if I felt bloated for like one day or two, whatever, and then I try to do some moves like dancing or going for walks or eating differently or having more liquid, and I just feel better, then this bloating will go away eventually. Thank you so much for that, Veronica. If anyone in the audience has any questions, or maybe you want to share your own experience, how you overcome fatigue and how do you energize yourself, maybe naturally or not naturally, and you wanted to share that with us, something that worked or works with you, for you, feel free to raise your hand and come up on stage. We'd love to hear you. And I want to say hello to Shivam. So great to see you. How are you doing?
Hello, beautiful people. I'm really good. So excited to be here. So I'm doing great, actually. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm great myself. And look, Veronica is here with us again. And yeah, I just love Veronica. I love her energy, as I do yours, Shivam. And it's always great to have you guys here. And today we're talking about how to boost energy naturally. Do you have a remedy for yourself, Shivam? Is there anything that you use to feel?
Yeah, today I was feeling a bit low, so I just ate 5 tomatoes with just a little black salt, and I'm feeling really energetic after that.
That's super powerful, Shivam. That's really intuitive of you to choose tomato because tomato is like pungent, it's heating. What does heat do? Oftentimes wakes us up. And so that's like a very intuitive choice that you made. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's summer and it's hot, so tomato is really cool, good for skin, good for glowing, and you can watch in my DP, my smile.
Wow, and you know what? You mentioned something beautiful, Veronica. It's intuitively, like choosing intuitively what to eat. And you know, when I heard that for the first time many years ago, like listen to your body, what your body wants to eat, I was like, what is that? Like, how is this even possible? But yes, when we what do I really want to eat right now? It will, our body never lies when it comes to that. And it's really great Shivam mentioned tomatoes because you know there is always like eat healthy and eat organically and stuff like that. Would you say that can we notice a difference between an organic vegetable and a non-organic one? Can we notice it? Is it visible, the difference between them, or not?
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes, this is a great question. So, if we're talking just like going to the grocery store, shopping, and visible from, I like to go from an out, like a wide angle, and then narrow it in, and then come inward. Um, so obviously looking at the signs, yes. But then, like if it says organic or not, or it will say organic. If it doesn't say organic, it's likely not, right, in a sign. But you could also look, even just the labels, the little stickers on things. If it starts with a 4 or a 5, it is not organic. If it starts with a 9 and is 5 numbers, it is organic. So a lot of people don't know, like, what are these numbers? So 4 or 5, non-organic. Starts with a 9, it is organic. If it doesn't have stickers on it, so you're at a farmer's market, I always talk to the farmers. So if I'm at a farmer's market, I'll ask, are these organic? Because there are regulations, right, to become organic, but some of them are not, and others, they go through the whole necessary process of like organic planting and farming, but it's just too expensive for them to get the certification. It costs quite a bit of money to have that label, right? So yes, we go through the organic process, but it is technically doesn't have the certification. So always ask your farmers if you have access to a farmer's market or a CSV, a CPA. And in terms of looking and taste, so any sort of like apple or pear or peach that's been on your counter for longer than a week and looks the same is not organic. That thing has been sprayed with pesticides. I'm telling you. Organic food, we will be shopping twice a week. And don't let like freak you out. Go shopping once for your produce and then get excited, a little follow-up in the middle of the week because the produce will likely go bad much quicker if it hasn't been sprayed with pesticides and it's organic. The more fresh the food, the younger it is. It will start to go bad faster when it's organic because we want to eat it right away. That's why microgreens and things like that are so potent and expensive because you just need a little bit. You cut it right off of where it's growing from, and it has so many more nutrients, minerals, enzymes. It's just so powerful the younger they are. Different properties from when they get older, and that's why we have things like fermentation, which is it's different type of medicine and used for something else than when it's younger.
Absolutely amazing, Veronica. just what you said. You know, I also love the things that Mother Nature give us. You know, the things naturally, they are really energetic and really helpful for our body.
You know what, Veronica, I didn't know about those numbers. So I'm so grateful you mentioned that. I actually took some notes. I'm very, very grateful for that. But I remember the story, like back in 2008, I spent about 3-4 months in America. I'm in the UK now. And I remember it was a program for students. So it was like work and travel. And we had like a canteen where we were eating, and the fruits they looked perfect, like really, really perfect, and the apples and everything. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do an experiment. So I took one of those apples and I put it in my room, and I kept it there for a month. It didn't change one bit. It scared me.
So scary.
It scared me so much. So that was like, how many years ago? 2008. That's like 13 years ago or something. But it really, really scared me. I was like, what am I eating here? You know, they all look like really good. And also the skin of the fruit was quite thick. I don't know if that makes any difference.
Like waxy almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, that's not food. That is not food. And I remember exactly how you say, like, you have to do your shopping once a week, or, you know, to top up then afterwards within that week. I remember, like, if I buy some strawberries, and within 2 days I can just see that if I'm not eating them, then they will go bad. And I'm happy about that. And then when I taste them, they are just delicious, and they have that beautiful taste as well. So does this mean that food, and especially organic food, if we eat organic food, helps us with our energy as well, like to boost it naturally? Does this help?
Yes. Such a good question. And also, just real quick with the pesticides, if one cannot obtain organic food and fruits and vegetables all the time, until we make this movement a little more widespread so that we can get organic food more accessible to people. But understanding that, just have some vinegar at home. Get vinegar, like the cheapest vinegar that you can, a lot of it, and like a scrub, some sort of brush, so that you can wash your vegetables and take the pesticides off, please, because those toxins will really, really burn through the gut. So just a little tip. And with the food and how it changes our energy levels, absolutely. So for anyone who practices Ayurveda and yoga, you'll probably heard of prana, right? So that like life force energy. You're going to get the most prana, the most energy from seasonal foods. And a lot of people don't even know what seasonal foods are or what foods are in season at certain times, because everything is shipped, everything is grown chemically with pesticides, GMO, so that we can have like strawberries all year long. And that is just not what's going to give us as much energy. If we want foods that are going to create natural energy, we want to eat as much of it in season as possible. And just to start, what feels good, I mean, obviously going to the farmer's market would be great, because then you can see what's in season. Give it a Google. When I started, I just like on this journey, when I was healing my skin, healing my fatigue, healing my amenorrhea, I literally printed out what foods were in season and put it on the calendar. I had like a calendar on my fridge and had those on top for each month. What foods are in season? I look at it every day until you start to become accustomed. If you're in a city or don't have access to farmers markets, that could be helpful. I hope that makes sense.
That is such a great tip, Veronica. Honestly, it truly is, because if you grew up, for example, in an area where there were like lots of farms and people were growing fruits, you remember that you're only like eating apples or whatever fruits only when it was their season, and otherwise you'd have like lots of my mom would do like lots of natural juices, out of those fruits so that you can eat them in the winter, but they were all like natural and stuff. And thank you for that tip of washing the fruits and vegetables with vinegar. I didn't know that. It's just amazing. I heard about like special solutions that you can buy from the store, and you can wash your vegetables and fruits with that. Is that a good one, a good product to use, or is it better to just use vinegar to wash them?
Yeah, it's funny. I've just started to see those products like in the vegetable aisle, and I haven't even really looked at the ingredients. So I'm gonna look for sure. But what I would do, just like any food, anything you buy that has a label on it, always look at the ingredients. If there are more than five, I shoot for three, but if there are more than five ingredients, it's a no purchase for me. And I tell my clients that too. Like, just to start out, make sure you can read everything on there. If you're seeing the label on the fruit wash and you're like, what is that? Give it a search, a Google search, or just say, okay, I'm gonna get some vinegar instead, because if that looks sketchy, sounds sketchy, it might be, it likely is. So vinegar is good. I know a lot of people don't like the smell. And if you're one that's very sensitive to the smell of vinegar, just a side note, there might be something, like going on with the liver, not to be scared about it, but a sensitive smell to things like vinegar, and just smells in general can mean that we want to do some really gentle, loving liver cleanses. So you can distill the vinegar with water. So make like your own spray, or a bottle, half with water, half with vinegar, and that should be good. And you're gonna save money. Yay!
Oh my God. Veronica, with every sentence that you say, there is a gem, at least one.
Absolute amazing.
It is fabulous information, and truly, Julia, Pat, Paul, or Ray, if you have any questions regarding our subject today, or anything that you feel called to share or ask, feel free to come up on stage and ask Veronica, because she is a wealth of knowledge. She truly is. And if you resonate with her and her energy, just follow her here or on Instagram or on both, because her energy is just amazing. It truly is. This is how I connected with her, and I was like, okay, this girl is just phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that. Do you apply, by the way, before we go to Julia, do you apply this rule of not more than 5 ingredients to everything, or just to like products, like washing products and stuff?
I really do. At least everything that I put in my body, like I eat, as well as on my body, like oils and lotions. That might be different for someone who's healing from something like eczema at the beginning. But oils, now that I've worked through the need for more synthetic lotions, and now it's just maintenance. Once you're in like a healthy state, a balancing state, then I stick to 5 ingredients. Of course, there might be times when you don't have a choice, and that is understandable and okay. What is powerful and exciting to know is that the body wants to help you out. The body is made and here to heal itself. That's its function. It's trying to stay alive. So if you're putting something in your body or on your body that's once in a while that's not great, rest assured that you can just do some simple practices to reset, and then just enjoy yourself, so that you're not taxing through stress, right? We don't want to put too much stress on us. We're like, 5 ingredients. Start small, and just start with the mindfulness, and then you'll slowly start to see that it's just becomes second nature and much easier. Yeah.
Yes, that's great advice. And for everyone here in the audience, Veronica healed herself, her own eczema, and many other things. It's just incredible. And she's also
With
working
help.
on her own
Always have help.
line, which is can't wait. Beautiful stage or to reach your goal. I'm so excited for you, Veronica. And with that, I want to say hello to Julia. Thank you so much for being here, Julia. How are you? And is there anything you wanted to share with us?
Hey, everyone.
Hello, Julia. So good to see you.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Veronica and everyone in the room for the knowledge and, spreading that. It's so important to keep sharing everything that you have inside because you can change lives without knowing it. Every moment counts and every word counts. So thank you for that. And initially I jumped in here, because Veronica and I had connected on IG and I wanted to support, but also I saw the fatigue thing and I'm like, yeah, that's my main issue in life. So let me just see what I can get out of it. I do have a little bit of a reversed kind of, I guess, daily, not my circadian rhythm, I guess, because mine's all over the place, but I mean, I'm not really going with the flow of nature. I usually sleep at 2 a.m., wake up like at 10 or 11, but even if I were to sleep for 12 hours, I'm still going to be tired, so that goes to show that it is a real thing, and our bodies get really kind of confused and out of line, and I don't use caffeine to substitute anything. I really just deal with the exhaustion, because I personally can't have the further impact on my adrenals. I would literally be unable to do anything. So that conversation was really helpful. It's a big reminder that even if it is a huge life change and you are having to, move a bunch of things around to accommodate that new wake up time and bedtime, I do think it can really pay off because at the end of the day, it is how we are wired. So it's just really about understanding that it's okay to have to switch things around and it can take time. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, I wasn't able to jump in for most of this because I'm super busy and I'm working, so I couldn't really, but I would love to talk more and I would love to have more conversations like this, so hopefully when you do the next time, I won't be working. So thank you so much again and love to all of you guys.
Thank you so much, Julia. You're welcome anytime you want. You're free to come here for sharing information, and we are spreading lots of positivity and love all around. Thank you so much, Julie, for joining us.
Thank you, Shivam.
Julia, thank you. You are so incredible. I'm just so happy to see you here and hear from you, and sending you so much love and energy and excitement on this journey to heal your adrenals. It is typically a long process, but it doesn't have to be one that just becomes a process. Rather, it's learning throughout the whole time, and it's even if it's 10 minutes a day of sleeping a little earlier, 10 minutes, and then waking up 10 minutes later, or 5, like that is okay, and celebrating those at each of those wins. And it's really powerful that you're not using caffeine to keep yourself up. And it sounds like, yes, you have a lot of work. You're definitely a pitta, if you have heard of the doshas. Everyone has all of them, but the high pitta, is our entrepreneurs, the leaders, the people who are staying awake because you have so much passion and drive and love for what you do. And that can also, yes, be very taxing on the adrenals. But your awareness of all of this is the first step. And then whenever you're ready to start making some movements, more of like sleeping a little earlier, putting the phone, even if you're not sleeping earlier, still sleeping at 2, but you choose to put the phone away and on airplane mode an hour before bed, and turning off the TV or any other blue light, right? 2 hours before bed. You might still sleep at 2, that's fine. But there's no more blue light. You have everything on airplane mode, and maybe you start to just wind down a little earlier. So that could look like massaging the feet with oil. That could look like, and then putting socks on so they're not all oily up in the bed. That could look like then waking up in the morning and doing some dry brushing so that you can get on that opening of your lymphatic system, which is going to create more energy for you, right? And then you can do things like prioritizing something that makes you really excited and joyful in the morning. For me, I pull a tarot card every day, just one. I'm not a tarot reader or anything, but one card for me that gets me excited. and I journal about it, or I use my tuning forks right after. So things like little things that bring some joy and energy to the mornings, so that you're excited to wake up earlier. Even just that little awareness that ooh, I'm gonna start waking up earlier in the future, and not really pressuring too much. Also, having things like essential oils, like orange. Orange is really nice in the morning to start waking us up. And then just, again, slowly but surely, it's really powerful just to hear your journey. And if you want to talk more about like adaptogens or like specific herbs or teas, then you reach out to me, and we could dive into it, because they differ from person to person for sure. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all that. I really appreciate it. I do wonder sometimes, though, if like everyone works better on a kind of like circadian rhythm vibe of waking up super early and going to bed early. Like, I don't know if that really works for every single human being, because there are exceptions to every single rule. And when I do wake up early, and when I used to wake up early years ago, it's like the most debilitating thing in the world. Like, I feel sick. Like, it's like my body's like, no, this is not it. Even when I tried for years. So it's really confusing, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just confusing. I haven't figured it out yet. I've been trying to figure it out for years. This sleep thing. And it's interesting.
I love that you said that, and I agree. It can be it's very confusing. And again, with Ayurveda and just the type of medicine that speaks to me, we are all we vary differently in terms of what times our energy arises. So a person that is more fiery, right, that has more pitta energy, they are going to thrive during the fiery pitta times of day and evening. So if you have a higher percentage of this fire substance, right, this transformative heat, like a pitta person, you might have a lot of energy around 10 to 2. And then again, pitta fire time of the 24-hour clock comes in right at 10 p.m. Right at 10. So if you're awake past 10, boom, you get that another hit of energy. If anyone's heard of, I'm sure everyone's felt it, but if you're awake past 10, then you're probably like, ooh, I got a second wind. Yes, that's that fire energy that's coming in, which is also the time when the liver is the most active. So what is the liver wanting to do is clean house. So if we are awake during that time, again, this might not be like every single day, but if we are awake during that time for a long period of time, then our liver can be taxed. But then mentally, we get really into a habit of that, right? And then then there's other people who are have more air or have more space energy. They move really quickly. Again, that person that has this really quick burst of energy, but then tires really quickly. That person will wake up maybe around like 4 or 5 and be like, super ethereal time. And this is, good for meditating, good for pulling those tarot cards, for creative moments. So a lot of like artists, they feel really creative during this time. And also again, then around like 2 a.m. Right? So it depends on the person, yes, just like you said, because we have these different percentages of these substances in our body and our mind that make us more attracted to certain times of day, because we're all similar to nature. It's just the way we relate to nature will be different person by person. I hope that makes sense.
I just loved everything you said, and maybe she just had to jump out, but she was here for literally everything that you said, and what you said is so useful. I actually have a friend that she told me she suffers with this chronic fatigue, and the struggle is real. She literally cannot work when she goes through phases like that, and it's really really difficult for her. She actually moved to a place with like that's where is more sunny, and she has a beach and seaside, and she just recharges her energy all the time. But still, she will go through phases when she just says, Stella, it's just impossible for me to work. So that is real, and thank you so much for explaining that, Veronica. For me, it's just I have to have a conversation with my body. And for example, if I have to go through a month of waking up early for whatever reason, I'm just I'm just talking to my body, and I'm trying to explain to my body why it's important, for us, for me and my body to wake up at that time for a month, for two, whatever. Like, for example, I'm planning to start doing more exercise from August, from next month, and I can only do it in the morning. That's, to fit my schedule. So I already started to have this conversation with my body. I just have to convince my body to do that. Otherwise, I just know that if I can wake up at 8, that is perfect for me. It just 8 is beautiful for me. I can even go to bed at 12, 1, whatever, and wake up at 8 without even having an alarm. But it's not always possible, of course. Usually I have to wake up at 6. So I just guess we have to be intuitive with sleep as well. But I think sleep is so very important. Would you say 8 hours of sleep are recommended, or less or more?
Yeah, good question. For a majority of the people in this world, 8 hours is fantastic. It's a nourishing number. It's safe. Actually, over 8, so 9 hours, could actually be more depleting to us because we kind of sit in that fatigue throughout the day. So if we're sleeping too much, then that's also damaging. But there have been a lot of studies that are showing that 6 hours or less is damaging to our cells on a cellular level. The body now is going to want you to eat more, like we were talked about before, right? It's gonna reach for more energy because we're not getting the hours that we need. That's just replenishing, healing, repairing from everything that we do throughout the day. So more than 6 hours to 8 hours is great. And some days when it's less and some days when it's more, that's okay. But a majority of the time, keeping it at more than 6, less than 8. Some people thrive like greatly at 6.5 hours and 7 hours. But yes, the majority, 8 hours is really the sweet spot. Definitely the sweet spot.
I love that, between 6 and 8 hours. I actually love that because this is what I can normally have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. It makes me happy. Just to remind everyone in the room, we are talking about how to boost energy naturally. And tomorrow in this club, we are going to have another beautiful conversation about Feng Shui from inside out with Laura. She is amazing. She talks about the energy within us and the energy in our space as well, and how to balance it all, and how to work with that energy and things around us to bring in abundance on so many different levels. So that is going to happen tomorrow. But if you resonate with the energy of this club, just follow it. And we normally have beautiful conversations. Like yesterday, we had a conversation about healing and how energy healing works. And if you feel like creating a conversation in this club, just feel free to do that. Or if you want to do it with me, just reach out to me. And follow Veronica, Siobhan, Pat, Ray, Tammy. Follow each other if you resonate with your energies. We have just a few more minutes left in this conversation. So if you have any questions about this topic, feel free to ask Veronica. You can raise your hand and come up on stage because she is phenomenal, and I'm not kidding. Honestly, she's just. And also, what I love about you, Veronica, is that you always share information with so much joy, and I can tell that you're so passionate about what you do. It is incredible, and that is going to be my question. How much does this matter, like to do what you're passionate about, to kind of boost your energy?
Oh my goodness, such a juicy question. Thank you, and thank you for the love on that note. Absolutely. I would say doing things that bring you joy is a huge element to boosting your energy naturally. So taking just one moment, maybe 5 minutes, to journal down the things that light you up, the things that make you happy, the things that bring you joy, that make you smile, and ask yourself, how often are you doing this a week? How often are you able to do this a week? How can you bring in just a little bit more to start? Just a little bit more to start. And then I promise it becomes a ripple effect. 2 minutes. For me, it was dancing for sure. 2 minutes. And I started with brushing my teeth. I would put on a banger in the morning and I would dance while I'm brushing my teeth for 2 minutes. And then it spiraled. And then I made more space for the dancing, the singing throughout the day. This was especially while I was working in corporate and wasn't doing this work, this healing work full time. And then I had the energy to, it wasn't just that, of course, other elements too, but then I created the energy slowly but surely to leave corporate, to leave a job that I loved, working at Hulu, to do this full time, because that's what what was written on my heart and my soul. But we can't just jump there right away. We want to make small adjustments. That's why I mentioned, like, I pull one tarot card in the morning. That's it. Something that brings me joy, that makes me smile. And things like looking at your food, even just arranging. If you got takeout, arrange the takeout on your food in a way that makes you feel good and smile. So you're not eating the takeout with malice, right? The little things that are going to create some joy are going to bring you more energy. And then you start to make more powerful, empowering choices. Like, again, and then even with movement, working out. If you can't work out for an hour a day, fine. That's totally fine. Do a plank while your water is boiling in the morning, or if you're having the coffee while your coffee is brewing, but please have the warm water before the coffee. Doing a couple of jumping jacks as you're transitioning from one thing to another. You're driving one place to another, then you're sitting down to work. Do a little stretch, like half a minute, 30 seconds, to honor those transitions with something that's gonna bring you some joy, to enliven you into that next step. So that is really, really big. And again, joy is, we talked about emotions briefly, but no emotion is stable, is gonna stick forever, right? Nothing is constant except for change. That's why my business is called Vern's Balancing Page, because there's no such thing as standing on one foot and then like no micro movements of the toes happening, right? There's always movement and change. So no emotion is constant either. Happiness, joy, sadness, grief, all of those are going to shift and change. So relish in the fact that, ooh, I'm feeling joy right now. Let me really feel it. Oh, I'm feeling sad right now. Let me actually feel it. So I move through it, not around it. And relish in the fact that nothing is constant, that it will change. So enjoy it while it's happening. So that is huge. That is really big for energy.
I love that quote, Veronica. Like you said, always do the things that makes you happy. Yeah, little things are always magical. And I really love that quote. I always say to my friends, do the things that makes you happy all the time.
Yes, and we are conditioned, or the society tells us, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that.
We're
but
live on Clubhouse,
if we don't look at those things that bring us joy, we are ignoring basically a big part of ourselves and who we are. And that's a big shame, because there is so much beauty and so much light within each and every one of us, and it's a shame not to allow for that light to shine. Wow, I'm so grateful for another beautiful conversation. Thank you, Veronica, Shivam, Pat, Ray, Tammy, and everyone who has been here in the room and had to leave as well. I'm extremely grateful for everything that I've a ton. Veronica, as always, I've made so many notes, and you know what my desire is right now? To text my friend who is so passionate about food and tell her everything about washing fruits and vegetables and all those numbers and everything. So yes, thank you so much for that. Lots of love, lots of hugs, and on this note, I'm going to end the room in just 3, 2, and 1. Bye.
Bye guys. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. That was so great. That was fun. Oh my goodness. Stella's honestly such a sweet darling. I truly, truly love speaking with her. I hope that some of this resonated. We didn't even get to some of the topics I thought we were going to get to when it comes to boosting naturally, or energy naturally. At the end of the day, I mean, we talked about caffeine. We could talk more about caffeine. We didn't even get into like the lack of B12 that can happen. I wanted to speak to that because that's a huge component. Actually, maybe I'll hop on another live and speak about B12. So if you want to know more, go on Instagram, Vern's Balancing Page, or like, share, comment, all of the things if any of this resonated with you. If you want to know more about boosting your energy naturally, or chronic fatigue and relieving that, reach out to me. I'm doing 30-minute breakthrough sessions to see if doing the whole balancing method is right for you, because we have to make sure that this is going to work, right? That you're down for the work, and that you're down for the accountability coming from me. So reach out or make an appointment. The link should be in my bio. Yeah. And anything else, if you want to know more about energy and you have any questions, comment it here. Share with someone that you love that this might resonate with and might be helpful with. There's so much more to speak to. So I know we got comments about green tea too, so we could talk about green tea in another conversation. If you want to hear about that, let me know. You're amazing. Some things to leave you with when it comes to boosting your energy naturally. Just asking yourself, because we kind of spoke to it a little bit, is like the joy, where there might be energy leaks. So ask yourself, like, are you living a life that's full and not harmful to the self, towards yourself or to others? Because that will create leakage, right? Are you doing something, at least a little thing every day that makes you happy, your soul happy? Are there areas in your life where there's guilt or shame? That's going to be an energy leak. What is it? Where is that coming from? Who is that coming from? Are there moments where you feel unsupported? Are you feeling unfulfilled in relationships? These will cause leaks. And just start to ask yourself those questions, dissect them, journaling them. You're not going to solve the problems right away, but be aware of them. Are you respectful to yourself? What ways are you respectful to yourself? How's your home environment? They're gonna talk about home environment and energy in that space. Is there space for your energy to flow, to thrive? Is it clean? Is there clutter everywhere? That's gonna create fatigue. Are you practicing self-discipline? Or is your ego and cravings dragging you through the day? What are your motives and behaviors for doing things? Are you practicing devotion to something? To yourself, to a higher power, to energy, to nature? Yeah. Are you practicing gratitude? Can you practice gratitude? I write three things every morning. Actually, I've increased it to 4 every morning of things that I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's really profound and great. Sometimes it's for being able to actually just write that day. So practicing gratitude. Massaging your feet. I talked about that. Massage your feet with some oils at night and put some socks on. Help you go to bed so you're not looking at your phone. Instead, your phone is on airplane mode so that it doesn't distract your REM cycles for sleeping. Just a couple things. Sending you so much love. We had so much fun. And here, if you have any questions, always. And oh my goodness, I can't wait to talk to you soon. Peace, love, all of the above. Bye.